We're going to talk about things to consider for 2024. I'm Randall Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services, and that you probably need a pencil and a piece of paper today, and you probably also need access to your calendar. And you don't have to have it, but you're probably going to want it. So the first thing I want to do when we're talking about estate planning, and this is serious, folks. I have 91 licensees, but I only have I'm going to say about 60 that are actually committed. Okay, I have 30 that hang out with us, but we just need to be aware that the first thing I need to ask you to do for 2024 is you have to commit to whatever decision you're going to make. And what I want you to be able to do is be able to put your next steps on your calendar. And what I need to know, if you put your next step on your calendar, if you put something on there for December 1, I have to have faith that you're going to do it. So what we have to know is everybody's next step is different. Everybody's next step is determined about where you are in your career. Santi, you and I are going to talk seriously here in a couple of weeks about what's going on for all of your Medicare clients and all your clients that you built over your career. Some of you have a lot of clients. Some of you don't have many clients. So the question is, who do you want to become in 2024? And actually, in the estate planning business, you do have to become that person. Sometimes it'll osmose. Sometimes it's just forced behavior, then it osmosis, but eventually it just takes over. So we want to ask the question, what are your available resources? So since the new year's coming, I just want to ask you a question, because I've just finished talking to Benton Williamson. He's in Oregon, but he's coming to Knoxville to live here. And we talked about it, with a new year coming, have you set your goals and your business plan for the upcoming year? Well, I will promise you this. If you do not have your goals and business plan for the upcoming year, I promise you, your year will be almost exactly like this year if you didn't make any plans or goals. And we're going to talk about comfort zones here in a minute. So on a piece of paper, it'd be really nice if you wrote down your income goal. And I don't want you, if you're not making $250,000 a year, don't put $250,000 a year down. The very first goal that I want you to do is, how can you earn what you've earned this year by working a whole lot less time than you worked last year? And then I want you to accomplish that goal on a monthly basis before the end of January is over. I don't want you to get your whole year's income in. I just want you to be earning what you were earning in the first 2 or 3 weeks of January using an easier system. So I don't want you to get grandiose. I don't even think I spelled that word right. Maybe somebody who speaks French can fix that. But all I want you to do is state the answer for you as far as a needed income for January. Okay. I don't care to tell you, my answer is $33,000. That's what I'm used to making in January. Okay, I hope to make a whole lot more, but that's my minimum standard. So I'm gonna do what I need to do to earn $33,000, but I'm going to do the things that I need to do to earn that money in January. I'm going to do it in December. That's how you guarantee your income in January, is you do the work you need to do the month before. So we need to talk about what that work is. Okay. So, and y'all have heard me talk in the past about it. There's no Chinese proverb. State the answer, then ask the questions how to get there. And folks, I'm going to be real honest with you. The answers are all mathematical. Create the math formula, and then that THE, it should be THEN, then implement the cycle of success. But you have to state the answer first. So if the answer to my question is $33,000, if the answer to your question is $50,000, if the answer to your question is $10,000, That's okay. But if the answer is in January, I'm going to make $10,000 after expenses, or I'm going to make $10,000 before expenses are taken out, then we can go in and we can make a list of the things that we need to do to make that income. Hope that makes sense. So if we discuss how adding estate planning to your product and service portfolio, and then using the front end and back end sale concept, if we do those two things, I will guarantee you that if you will talk to me as we develop, that the income number that you write down will be the minimum, not the maximum. But you know, the number that I'm looking for you is the number that you have to have, and let's make that the minimum, not the maximum. So it all starts with your approach technique. Failure or success starts with mindset. And y'all have heard me say that over and over and over. What you think is going to happen is probably going to happen. And if you think that you're just going to stay where you are by not planning, I promise you that is exactly what will happen. And in growth, in business growth, we call that a plateau. So if you're comfortable, if you are comfortable, growth and success are stymied. If you're uncomfortable, then you're trying to grow, you're busting off that plateau. If you're comfortable, you're going to stay right on that plateau. So you have to want to break out. And you have to want to grow, or at least become more efficient. And to do so, you have to have a business plan. You have to have one. It's not a maybe, it's a sure thing. You have to have one. So what I'm going to ask you to do is set up a business plan that leads to long-term care discussions, that leads to asset-based long-term care, that leads to any income planning discussions, that leads to current health status considerations, that leads to liquidity reviews, that leads to annuity reviews, that leads to life insurance discussions, leads to retirement conversations and IRA reviews and 401k options and advocate discussions, plus the opportunity to build your agency using one go-to first interview, the same interview every time. You don't have to work unplanned anymore. And if you follow this plan, you only have to know one conversation, and it will take you to all these areas. And I don't want you to be a product salesman. I want you to be a process person. A process person will find all these topics in that one conversation. The family tree, asset positioning, go to first interview. So if you do that, it sets the stage for any kind of career path or mentorship you want to take, because people will notice the change in your life and they'll start looking at you and go, how do you do that? And you know what my answer is? Oh, you don't want to know. It's easy. Everybody else wants to do it the hard way. You don't want to know my way. My way's too easy. But my way attracts, retains, and rewards talented professionals. It creates and implements an ideal compensation philosophy, and it allows you to motivate your team to work cohesively if you want to build a team. Now, you can go back to the book that you have in chapter 1, Approach, Plan, Succeed, and you can be a one-man show and make a lot of money in this business. But if you want to grow and develop downlines and an agent staff or anything like that, this is the way to do it. Tell them, we only know one song. We only know one beat. We only have one goal. We want to be the best advisor we can be by understanding the family dynamics of each person we talk to before we get into anything else. That's all you need to know. So first you have to get your house in order. And this is what I've learned in the past couple of months. A lot of licensees don't have their house in order. You have to have a mathematical solution that can be converted into a business plan, then implemented with personal accountability. Not accountability to me. I can, if I teach this to 100 people this month, it doesn't do anything but make my life better. There's no accountability to me between me and you. The accountability belongs to you. You have to decide what you're going to do. So, I'm going to talk to you about something that most sales trainers don't talk to you about. But, if you'll listen to what I've got to say and let it go deep, your income's going to change in 2024. It's going to go up. And it falls in place when you make what I call a primary promise. If someone comes to me, they come to me for a reason. And if I go to them, I go to them for a reason. And when those reasons are the same, that means we have congruent and compatible goals. And when I talk to them and I say, your clients will benefit from a conversation with me about their current estate plan, I mean it from all my heart. That's why this picture works so well, because I mean it, and they know I mean it. And I think that's why they do business with me. That's why they'll do business with you. So anytime in marketing, everybody makes a primary promise. And then you have to have unique mechanisms that separate you from everybody else. Now, these two screens right here, this one and this one, can probably add a 0 to your income this year. If you want it. You don't have to want it. I'm not saying you have to want it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you if you don't want it. But if you do this, you better be careful, because that could be what happens. What happened to me several years ago. So I made my primary promise. And then I have these unique mechanisms that nobody else knows, nobody else can master, and nobody else, they always look at me and go, how'd you do that? The unique mechanisms that separate you from everybody else in the financial services industry that I'm trying to teach you are: 1, the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview. Plus, you own the Family Estate Docs estate planning software, or if you own it. If you don't, you ought to get it. I use the Retire Now income planning software. It's wonderful. You don't have to use it. I won't force it on you. But if you ask me how I did that, I'm going to say, this is how I did it. Would you like me to teach you how to do that? Would you like for me to have the person who taught me how to do it teach you how to do it? That's what that's a whole lot easier than me doing it. And then your unique mechanism is that you're going to have a 90-day plan that you're going to review every 30 days. And your other unique mechanism is to understand the cycle of success. Most salespeople run around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to sell products. Please remember what I'm saying to you here. If you make the primary promise and use the unique mechanisms that I'm showing you, you will be like a farmer outstanding in his field. So what I'm saying to you is, I'm trying to hand you this piece of gold. And it all starts with committing to the marketing process that we teach here at Asset Positioning Services. And I'm proud of what we teach. We use my book, Approach, Plan, Succeed. And if you haven't read it in the past 60 days, you ought to go back and just grab a cup of coffee and go through it again. We use the first interview sales script that I teach. I use that sales script. You don't have to be perfect. I'm probably 300 interviews ahead of you. But some of you are 10 interviews ahead of some of the people that have just joined us. And some of you are 20 interviews ahead. But I will always train and coach as you grow. And some of you all have grown so much. You've got 6-figure incomes heading for 7. Wouldn't that be nice if everybody could do that? I'll tell you, the ones who do it are the ones that want to. The ones that can see themselves doing it. And the ones that will allow themselves the opportunity to follow the process and the roadmap that works. And you know what? It's easy to learn and easy to follow. All you got to do is keep records. And now I'm going to get up on my soapbox a minute. And you folks that are here, listen, pay attention. What is your first step? You need to find the numbers it takes to make your first sale. I'm not concerned with your 6-figure income. The very first thing I want you to know is I need you to learn how to make your first sale. And I need you to learn the steps to get to where you can make that first sale. And I know that a new licensee will make 3 estate plan sales if the licensee follows my process. Now, I'm not saying 10 a day. I'm not saying 10 a week. If you want to make 3 sales in the month of December, approach 10 people. Use my approach. Make the primary promise. Use the unique mechanisms. And some of you that are on this show today, I'm not going to name you. I'm going to laugh at you, and I hope you'll laugh with me for a minute. But when I ask you what's going on, some of you will say, well, I've got this one case. Well, that's great. But you know what? You are 10 times harder to work with if you only have one approach than you are if you have already made 10 approaches. And to be honest with you, you're 10 times more profitable if you do it my way, because your chances of making a sale if you have one prospect are not as good as if you have 7, 8, 9, or 10. So, you know, when I say 10, I mean 10, not 1. When I say 10, I mean 10, not 2, not 5, not 9. I mean 10. And, you know, some of you act like 10 is such a hard number. If you could just walk out the door and you'll see 10 people, and 10 of those people, the numbers work. It doesn't matter who they are. The only thing that matters is your income is going to be a factor of the quality of the person that you approach. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. So here's, I'm just going to throw some things at you, and I just want you to listen to me. You have to commit to a plan of approach. And that's where most of you that are not being successful, that's what most of you have not done. The ones that are being very super successful have committed to a plan of approach. And that plan can be whatever's comfortable for you. I'll help you develop whatever plan you have, even if it's spitting in your hand and hitting it with your fist and seeing which way the spit goes. That's okay. It'll work if you do it 10 times. But it's going to work better if you use personal observations. It's going to work better if you will develop some form of the top of mind awareness TOMA program. It'll work best if your existing clients think that you've done a great job, and if those people will advocate for you. It'll work best if they understand that you're sincere when you talk about that you'll be a better advisor if you understand their family dynamics, and that you think that they would benefit from a conversation with you about their estate plan. And when they do, they may learn something they were not aware of. How could it be any easier? Remember, I don't know if y'all were in elementary school, you had to learn how to quote the preamble of the Constitution within the course of human events, so and so and so and so and so and so and so. And it's about 100 words. And you had to get up and perform it. I don't know how many words this is, but it's not many. I will be a better advisor for you if I understand your family dynamics. And at the same time, because of that, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan, because those who do usually learn something about their plan that they were not aware of. I wish I could make it all rhyme. I wish I could spell implementation. Sorry. But the next thing is follow up. If you tell somebody, if you send somebody the coming storm, well, at least follow up. And what do you do when you follow up? You say what I just said to you. That will work 7 out of 10 times. And those of you who don't believe me, I don't care if you believe me or not until you've tried it 10 times and see that it works. So when you say, hey, I've got one case, I just want to put my hand on my forehead and go, oh my, this person's not listening. So if you approach those 10 people, that's when you can talk to me and you and I can discuss what worked and what did not work. That's how we get better. That's how we adjust. I hope that makes sense. You're not as much fun to work with if you don't have 10 people. I like you, you're friends, and we laugh and everything, but if I'm trying to show you how to change your economic life and you only do 1/10 of what you need to do, how can you ever expect more than 1/10 of the income? So why do I keep saying 10-7-3? If you approach 10 people in week 1 or month 1, and that is all determined by your choice of momentum, whatever your choice is. And if you have 7 go-to first interview appointments, week 2 or month 1, and then the next week or next month you approach 10 more people, then you have 7 go-to first interviews, and you have at least 3 back-end sales scheduled. Now, if you look at me and we have a list of 10 people and you are unsuccessful in getting 7 appointments, I'm going to say, I think there's something wrong in your approach. It's either your technique or your tenacity or your sincerity or your ability to say what you need to say. That's it. It's that easy. And then you can look at me and say, well, I don't want to do that. And I'll go, okay, I got an appointment. I got to go. So, 10-7-3 works. And if you won't use the mathematical formula 10-7-3, okay. So if you have all the good qualities of professional, sincere process salesperson or process manager, you will, even as a rookie, approach 10, have 7 appointments, sell 3, make 1 good back-end sale. Now, so if that's your whole month, doesn't look like much, does it? You've got to at least approach 1 person every 3 days. You've got to have at least 7 appointments. That's 1 every 4 days. And I promise you, if you follow my sales presentation, you'll sell 3 estate plans and have 1 good appointment for a back-end sale that's going to make you some money. 1. So let's add that up. Remember I talked to you a few minutes ago, what is the math? 10 low-cost approaches. Probably zero plus time, $0 plus your time. You're going to get 7 appointments, 3 family estate doc sales. That's going to make you $3,900 minus $150 in a good Godiva delivery, which means you're going to net out about $3,450. 1 back-end sale using the income analysis that we teach. 1 back-end sale using one of your unique mechanisms. Average sale, $200,000. That's a $1,000 gap, a little less than a $1,000 gap. And your commission is going to be $14,000. So in 1 month, if you just approach 10 people in the month of December, even though you've got a short month on your calendar because there's so many holidays and everything, you can still do it very easily. In 1 month, with only 10 approaches in the month, $17,450. Would that solve your cash flow formula? Well, for me, the answer is no. I'm stupid. I have to have more money. So all I'm asking you is, would that be worth learning to implement in 2024? If you want to learn to implement in 2024, and if you don't want to lose the first month, you'll get that done in December. Would you be willing to implement and examine the issues you have in the first month, to examine what's working and what is not working? You know, for some of you, I can tell you what's not working. What's not working is you're not doing it. Okay, but some of you are. And some of you are tripping over some wonderful cases that you did not know exist just by personal observation. But it's the personal observation that will make it easier for you to find those wonderful, nice cases. It's not hard. Somebody asked me today what I was going to wear to an interview. I said, well, I hope you don't think I'm going to wear a suit and tie. I'm going to go in and be me. Unless I'm trying to impress somebody on a first impression, then you'll see me dress up with my blue suit and my white shirt and my red tie. But only if I think it's important that those people understand, and that I want them to have respect for me, and that I show them respect for them. But that second or third interview, I'll probably dress down a little bit because I want to take the pressure off of them. I want to be a little bit more casual with the thought process. If I think in the first interview that they want somebody in a suit and tie, I'll show up in the second interview in a suit and tie. But anyway, normally people who fail in this business expect to fail. They're not willing to commit. They're comfortable living a subsistence income life. They are comfortable where they are. They're not willing to pay the cost of success. Are they lazy? I don't know. Are they skeptical? I don't know. Are they distracted? Maybe. Maybe they've got a broken heart. Maybe they've got a football game that's bothering them. Something's distracting them, and they concentrate on that distraction instead of the primary problem that they have. But generally, they have a poor mindset. And most of you that are on this interview right now, you don't have poor mindset. I don't believe that. But if you do, if you have all these things along, you need a different job. Nobody wants you as their advisor. Get that straight. A product salesperson can make some good money, but I want to teach you to be a process professional, but you have to have a business plan to do it. And I'm not fussing at you. I'm just saying, hey, this is what I have learned. You have to have the proper mindset. And all you need is a roadmap that you're willing to follow, that you understand. You need to have an application process for those who've done business with you in the past, and an application process for those who have, that's HABE, who have not done business with you in the past. And it has to be a systematic process with coaching and training and a math formula that works for you. As soon as you tell me that your income in January, and I hope you will, Tell me what your income needs to be in January, not what you want it to be. We'll get it to where you want it to be in March or April, but I need to know what you need it to be in January. And since that's the answer, let's ask the questions how to get there. Let's see what we need to do to make sure you have that income. And I'll tell you, I hope that makes sense. But you know, there's two things that have to happen. These are the two things that you have to get done in the first interview. And if you can't do these two things, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your client's time. Look at them. Your client needs to determine that they need a better estate plan. And they need to want to hire you to get it done. Now, if you don't go into that first interview with those two things in mind, using the easiest to learn, best sales presentation called Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview, you will never accomplish these two goals in 45 minutes like you're supposed to. If you spend more than 45 minutes doing it, you're either happy where you are, the coffee's good, or you're wasting your client's time. All you got to do is do it right. You don't have to do it right. But if you take the agenda and follow the agenda, there's no way you can't do it right. So, you know, it's a no-brainer. You know, if you're online here today and you're not one of our licensees, take the training program. If you're wanting to be a master licensee or you want to recruit and build a downline, tell your suspective agents and prospective agents to take the training program. It only costs $99.95. It took Linda and I a long time to get it set up so that we could afford to present it on that level, because I was taking on my time trying to train people, and it was not the right way to do it. I had to develop a training system that you could follow on your own time and then ask me questions, or I couldn't afford to do it. So, but you know, you can tell your friends and people you want to bring into the business, your training fee is refunded when you make your first sale using the Family Estate Docs software within the first 60 days. I guess I'll put an asterisk there. Your commission on your first sale can be as high as $13, with back-end sales averaging $5,000 to $20,000. If it's $5,000, I'm gonna put you in a category what went wrong. Because if you're only making about $5,000, I'm going to say, well, let's get your clients to advocate a little higher asset person. Let's get you out of that pond and get you in a better pond, because it should be closer to $20,000 if you're solving the gaps and the cliffs correctly. And if you're not, if you're only making the $5,000, I might look at you and say, let's talk about how you present the gaps and the cliffs. I will work with you on the sales presentation, but I do not want to work with you on the sales presentation if you can't approach 10 people, because that's a waste of my time. I want you to learn that, but why would I want you to learn it if you won't take the first steps and get out there and find the right people to show it to? So you know, here's a link if you want to become a licensee. If you're out there, click on it, and you have two options: $49.95 or save $100 by going for $495. Your software training begins at your convenience, or if you choose, you can just schedule time to talk to me, and most of you know how to talk to me anyway. So if you already have the training program and the website license, what is the next step? Now I'm talking to you. Most of the people that are on this thing right now, I'm talking to you. Do you have a 90-day plan that we can examine weekly or monthly? Well, that's, you know, I'm really good at that. And we can find out what's working and what's not working if we have the 90-day plan. If you don't want to set up a 90-day plan, how can I ever help you figure out what's working and what's not working? And what that makes me think is, I want to go work with somebody that's turning in their 90-day plan. That's the person that I want to spend my time with. But because it's a process you can have faith in. It's a business plan. It shows me that you have implementation skills. It shows me that you desire to change your life by changing your income structure, a self-definition of who you are and who you want your market to see you as being where you want to be at the end of each month in the coming year. Because it's all in your mindset, and I made those words bigger. It's all in your mindset. But people have to be able to look at you and see you as that one person who can help them determine they need a better estate plan and that they need to want you to hire you to get it done. Now, can you see yourself as that person? I hope so. It's very profitable. Can your market see you as that person? I hope so. It's more profitable if they do. So think about what I said earlier. Your primary promise and how you articulate your primary promise to prospects can make all the difference on whether you get hired quickly or if you hear those dreaded words, oh, we need to think it over. I never hear that. I promise you, I never hear it. Now, sometimes I hear no, but I never hear we need to think it over, because my process runs them through the thought process and has them talking to each other and looking at each other. They do not need to think it over. They will never say that to you. So how many prospects have left your office and are still thinking it over? Well, if they are thinking it over, why? Because they determined that they did not need a better estate plan? Or did they determine that they did not want to hire you to get it done? In your first 10-7-3, if we do 10-7-3 and three people won't make an appointment with you, and out of those 7, 4 won't buy and 3 do, these sentences don't matter. Hey, law. So I want to go back to, you have to make a primary promise, and you have to have unique mechanisms to get the job done, or you look just like everybody else. That's what causes we need to think it over. They won't think it over if they believe that your primary promise is correct and that your unique mechanisms are something they've never seen before, and it's so easy and makes them understand and makes them want to take care of this. So again, I just want to repeat it to you. What is your primary promise? You think your suspect will benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. When your suspect agrees, they become a prospect. 10 suspects equals 7 prospects. 7 prospects equal 3 sales and a minimum of 1 back-end sale. If you make 3 estate plan sales and don't have any back-end sales, I'm going to scratch my head and say, there's something wrong here. We got to figure out what it is. And most of the time, it's the same thing. If you're making those 3 sales on estate plans and not having a back-end sale, you're not setting the stage for the back-end sale. And I've already given you the power phrase for that. I'm going to say, hey, you've done a good job with your assets. When you come back in to pick up your estate plan next week, I've got some good ideas for you, but I need to do some research first to be sure that they're good ideas. And I want to run some numbers. When you come back in next week, do you want to see your numbers? If you don't set that stage for that back-end sale, then all you're trying to do is live off the income from selling the estate plan. Well, that's okay. You know, if you need $4,000 a month, sell 3 estate plans. You're doing a disservice to your client when you do it that way. So what I'm trying to teach today is it's really pretty deep. It's really goes right into the heart of a good process salesperson. And it's not how good you are with the products. It's not whether you're Dapper Dan in a 3-piece suit. It's, can you convert a suspect into a prospect? You know, if you can do that, what's that old saying? Teach a man to give a man a fish and you feed him, or something, teach him to fish and you feed him for the rest of his life. If you can learn to convert your suspects, your personal observation, your TOMA, all those things that we talked about earlier a few minutes ago, if you can convert those suspects based on your primary promise into a prospect, and if you don't understand this, we'll talk about it here in a minute, but you have to convert your suspect into a prospect. You have to be good at it if you don't want to have skinny children. You have to be able to convert a suspect to a prospect by using your primary promise. And all you have to do after that is implement your unique mechanisms in the proper order. That order is the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, the family estate doc software, understanding the value of the health questions, the staging of the second interview for the back-end sale, and then being able to make the proper back-end presentation. You know, these are, if you understand these things and apply them in the first order, you're going to outshine almost every other financial services professional that you run up against, because they're not going to understand why you're so good. Of course, you can skip those and not be as good. And then I'm going to want to find out, what is it in your mindset that makes you do that? I'm going to look at you and I'm going to go, hey, well, why are you doing it that way? It's not making you as much money. And it's self-sabotage. Why would you self-sabotage? So your unique mechanisms align. Listen to this. This is so important. Your unique mechanisms align your client's choices with their most important goals and most deeply held values. That's what it does. It helps put your client's house in perfect order and allows you the tools to keep it that way. And with the proper back-end funding, creates a level of confidence that no matter what happens, I'm going to read that again. No matter what happens, their goals will be achieved. Is that not what you want your client thinking about you? They probably won't be sitting in a crowded party room saying, boy, he's got the best unique mechanisms in the world. They won't even know what you did. They won't even know that you got it down as a science and done it in the proper order on a spreadsheet, so that you know how you're moving those people into that process. And then all of a sudden you start getting checks with 4 or 5 zeros on the end of them. One of my checks only had 3 zeros on the end of it, but it started with a 39. And another check that I got only had 3 zeros on it, and it started with a 34. And it's because I walked them through this process. And the agents who had the business before that person met me couldn't figure it out and backed away and didn't even resist because they knew I had them. They knew I was taking that business, and they knew they could not stop it because what we were doing was aligning the client's choices with their most important goals and most deeply held values, and not the product that the other agent just wanted to sell them, because it was the other agents are product salespeople and not process people. And we helped those clients put their house in order because we understood their family dynamics up front. We understood their current health situation. We understood what their income was. We understood what their long-term care plans were, and had the good sense to make the proper back-end funding diagnosis and the proper back-end presentation. Does that make sense? I hope so. So let's think about what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, all my licensees and all my trainees and all my licensee prospects and all my licensee suspects will receive from me. You're going to get this tomorrow. And you know what? If you don't answer it, it's okay. Don't expect a lot of time out of me, because I'm going to be so busy dealing with the people who answer these questions and helping them make their income grow and helping them find out why their income is not growing, to even worry about the people that don't answer the questionnaire. The questionnaire, I just want you to complete it, and I'm going to let you pick just one of the next steps. One. If you pick two, I'm going to work on the one that's the highest on the list. But I want you to answer the email as soon as possible. I want you to make your appointment. I will not be taking appointments after December 15th. I'm going to take a break because it's in my plan. So let's get your month 2024 business plan in force. And you don't have to. You don't. But it all starts in what you plan in December. If you answer this questionnaire, I will provide the resources and the coaching to help you get where you want to be. Now, I'm not going to put you on my back and carry you, and I'm not going to kick you down the road. I'm going to say, okay, this is what you want. This is the math on how to get there. Let's do the proper approach, and let's get this ball rolling. And if it's not working, and to get 7, let's say you approach 10 people and you only get 3 sales or 3 appointments, I'm going to say, oh, okay, let's approach 20 people. Then we'll get our 7. After we get our 7 appointments, it doesn't matter how many approaches we have to take to get to those 7. Once you get to those 7, folks, it's downhill. The hardest part of this business, the hardest part of being in the financial services business, and I hear it all day, is I'm so afraid I'm going to get rejected. I used to feel that way till I learned that I could build my own momentum mathematically, and that if I got rejected, that was their loss, not mine, and it wasn't going to hurt my feelings anymore because I'm too busy. Even the great Mike Stranka gets told no. They don't know he's great. They just think he's another salesperson. He gets no's. It has to be your decision. It has to be your mindset, not mine. My mindset's fine. I'm okay. It has to be your mindset. It has to be your willingness to learn and implement the most efficient, superior, easy to learn, easy to implement process called Family Tree Asset Positioning, the go-to first interview. It's no-brainer to make it fit where you want to go. So answer tomorrow's email when you get it. Lisa knows she's going to send it. We're going to send it out to about 500, no, I think 3,500 people tomorrow. Because I'm including my suspects and I'm including my prospects. And I'm including my new licensees who don't know enough yet to really be productive. But if they'll listen to me, I can make them productive in less than 30 days and have an income in less than 60 days. I can't create your income tomorrow. That's your fault. It's work you should have done in October. But it's a no-brainer. And when you become aware of something that's superior and easy to learn and easy to implement, it is a no-brainer to follow the roadmap if you want the income. So anyway, for those of you who want to look at your December calendar, I want to do something. I'm going to share something with you. And I hope I don't lose you. And if I lose you, talk to you later. But because I probably won't come back, but I don't think I'm going to lose you. I'm going to let you look at my calendar here a minute. And I'm going to back up. That's when I was in Baltimore. See, if you don't have a busy calendar, it's because you don't want to have one. Or you don't know how to have one. And you can't have a busy calendar just by wanting one. You have to plan for it. So I'm going to look at it right here and say, okay, I'm taking you back a month and a half. There's October. There's the second week in October. There's the third week in October. There's the fourth week in October, which included a 4-day trip to Baltimore, which was a very interesting trip. And Ed, I enjoyed dinner with you. And then look over here at up to the first week of November. You might see some names there, you know. Look at the second week of November. Look at the third week in November. That's this week, right? Yeah. So look at Tuesday. New licensee, experienced licensee working on things. That appointment didn't happen because I had it on the wrong day. And if you folks are here, I realize it's tomorrow. Then I had to drive about 30 minutes up the road to talk to a client. And while I was there, I bumped into an old friend and made an appointment. His nickname was Waldo. And I said, hey, Waldo, how you doing? He said, well, I just got married. I said, Waldo, you're too old to get married. And he said, no, I'm not. I said, okay, tell me about her. He told me about her. And I looked at him and said, Waldo, have you changed your estate plan? No. Well, now that you've got these new family dynamics, you'd probably benefit from a conversation with me about estate planning. And most newlyweds and people that our age, when they get married, but when they have that conversation with me, they usually learn something they weren't aware of. And he said, well, call me next week. He said, I don't have time this week. And I said, I don't either. I'm going to send you a video. It's called The Coming Storm. Just watch it. And if you're interested, we'll make an appointment. I'll call you after you watch the video. And he said, great. Now, was that so hard to do? It was a nice little restaurant called the Hoagie House. We were just in there. I'm hooked on Reubens. I don't know why, but I like a good Reuben. And he was just in there having a sandwich with his new wife. And then I talked to Greg's here, and I talked to Benton Williamson, he's here. And then we had our group thing. And then look at tomorrow, Santy, I see I'm going to be talking to you early tomorrow morning. And then when I'm talking to you, Santy, I'm going to be driving my car because I got to be in Crossville in Central Standard Time, and I'm in Eastern Standard Time because Tara's sweet husband passed away. Then I'll be traveling back to Knoxville if any of you want to talk on the phone. Then I'm going to speak with Mr. David Lamont. He's one of our master licensees. And then Joy Wilson's coming in, and Joy is a manager of a in-home assisted living company. And she wants to know what her company can do to encourage people to do estate planning. And then that orange box right there, I mentioned a lot of you. I've taken all of you, all 91 of you, and I have looked to see who's the most successful, and I've tried to make a list of what it is about those people that makes them successful. And I designed an avatar. And I'm going to Sales Recruiting University, and they're going to interview 150 people a week across the United States. And the ones that meet that avatar, they're going to encourage them to talk to me. But, if you don't meet that avatar, I'm trying to, this meeting today, I'm just trying to show you what that perfect avatar is. It's the person who understands the primary promise and understands the value of those unique mechanisms. If you have them and you're not using them, that's okay. If you're having them and using them, you're probably making some pretty good money. I could pull out a list here of guys making money, but I don't think that's right. And then Thursday, I've got another, I think Mike's here today. And then I got to go see my doctor at 9 o'clock. And then I got to get in my car and I got to drive to Tellico to see the Groom family. And bless their hearts, I'm knock on wood, but they've already done about $1.2 million worth of business with me, and we're going to do some more. The yellow ones are clients. The purple ones are personal time. The green ones are licensees. The orange one is special projects. So that's what my calendar looks like. Next week, look, there's Thanksgiving. I'm busy Monday. Kim, you and I need to reschedule our appointments a little bit and get that one complete hour. And I can have that complete hour with you at 3 o'clock Monday afternoon if you want to. Tuesday, I'm leaving open. I'm doing that on purpose because I'm not going to leave my house. And if you want to talk to me before Thanksgiving, there's your day. But I don't want to work past 1 o'clock. So I'm going to go in here and on the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm going to title that time off. And I'm going to stay home. And that's going to start at 1 o'clock and it's going to go down to the rest of the day. And I'm going to give it, that's personal time for me. I bought me a new drill today at a yard sale. I got it for $20, a $100 drill, and I'm going to fix my wooden fence. And look what happens to my calendar. Now you can't make an appointment with me after 1 o'clock on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Okay, because it'll show up on my calendar as not available. So then I want to come over here and look at December. Okay, and December 4th, I have to work on this large group case I've had for about 30 years. I need to finish it up. And Linda wants to use the Jeep. And looks like Santiago, you scheduled some time there, but I'm wide open that week in December. If you don't want to talk to me before Thanksgiving, talk to me the first week of December about your January plans. But you can see right over here on the 15th, my last day for Family Estate Docs individual instruction and drill for the rest of the year. And I'm on Christmas vacation until the 27th, and I'm going to open back up for questions and one-on-one licensing calls. And all I'm trying to do is show you, if you have a calendar and if you follow your calendar, you will have the life you want to live with the income that goes with it. Okay, that's enough. 402. Does anybody have any questions or want to ask any questions or have anything to add or offer? Neil, you said right there, where's the first interview sales script found? I think that's chapter 23 on the daily lessons. And it's also on randallbaxter.com, FTAP, FTAP training, password, FTAP courses, no space, capital FTAP, and then small letters, COURSES. 2 columns on that ebook, top column on the right-hand side, chapter 4. Okay. Mike, if you're guilty as charged, I don't remember why or what, but we can fix it. Okay. But does anybody else have any questions?
I do, Randy.
Yes, go ahead, Jen.
All right. So I've been with you almost a year now, and I'm trying to understand how the 90 days fits into this. So I choose 10 people that I want to talk to, like within a week or within a month, or I guess that's just random. That's part I don't understand that part. And then I don't understand what the 90 days has to do with it. So if I choose 10 people I want to talk to, why don't I just start talking to them today? Why am I waiting until January?
Well, you're not. You're not. And see, that's why you do so well. Okay.
Okay. So but I guess I'm just a little confused about the whole plan.
Okay. Well, the 90-day plan opens your calendar up. First thing I would ask you to do in your 90-day plan, if you start on December, is mark off, and I think Benton, you talked to me today, and you said you'd already done it. Mark off the days you're not going to work in December. Mark them off. If I look at December's got 31 days, I know that's got 8 weekend days, Saturdays and Sundays, and I use that for mental health days. I have to rest. And so I know that at 31 minus 8, what's that leave? 23? Now I have 23 days, but I also know that there's Christmas, and my Christmas break is my Christmas break's 12 days long. 12 days Christmas. I like 12 days Christmas. Okay, so now 23 days minus 12. Now I've got 11 days that I'm going to work in December. I know that that's what I'm going to do in December. And I'm probably not going to work New Year's Eve. So that means I'm only going to work 10 days in December. So and then I look at January. So Jen, I know that if I can isolate those 10 days and I want to use those, I want to be the most efficient in those 10 days so that I don't have to worry or stress out over the other days that I know I'm not going to work. Because if I worry and stress out on days that I'm not going to work, I wind up working. I don't want to work. So I also have to know that during that 31 days of December, I need to know how that 20 days off that I'm not going to work is going to affect my January. So I have to look at my calendar in January. And I have to isolate the days I'm not going to work. And I have to know what my income is going to be in January. And I have to be sure that it's enough to where I don't have to worry if I took those 20 days off in December. And then I have to look at December, January, and February. Okay. So I'm going to look at February. I don't like to work on Groundhog Day. I don't like to work on Valentine's Day. I don't like to work on weekends. So there's 8, 9, that's 10 days in February I'm not going to work. That's 8. I only have 18 days to work in February. So when I look at the next 90 days, when you say, how does that 90 days affect you? It's going to affect you differently than it affects me. But at least I know what's coming. And I know when I can schedule my appointments, because when somebody wants to make an appointment, I pull up my calendar. I can say, no, I can't meet that day. I don't have to tell them why. I'm booked. Okay. So then after, and what I say is have a 90-day plan that you reevaluate every 30 days, because you have to know what's working and what's not working. So then at the toward the end of about middle of December, probably on the 27th, I'm going to do a real big evaluation and look at December and see if I got all my goals accomplished. And if I didn't, I'm going to ask myself why. Because that's something that's not working. And then I'm going to be able to adjust it. Was my motivation? Was it too much chocolate pie, too much pecan pie, too much key lime pie? I don't know. But at least I'll be able to examine what worked and what didn't work. Does that make sense?
Well, that wasn't the answer I was expecting at all. I mean, I know how to use a calendar.
Okay, okay. Well, so what were you looking for? Tell me that.
So just so I have something in my mind to compare to. So when I started in mortgage protection, I knew that if I bought 15 leads a week, right, and I scheduled 10 appointments a week, that I was going to sit with 8 of them, that I was going to sell 7 of them, and that I would make $40,000 a month. I knew that, like clockwork.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of what, so you had some numbers in here, but they're not translating for me.
Okay, so the numbers are you saying the 1073?
Well, so I don't know, 1073 what? Is that 10 a
Okay,
week?
all right.
10 a
Okay,
month?
that's
What
well, that's
people
okay.
do,
All right. Yeah, okay. And what I said on there was it can be 10 a week or it can be 10 a month. If you do 10 a month, you should have about a $17,000 income. If you do 10 a week, you're going to have a $75,000 a month income. It just depends on your motivation, your momentum, your health, your family plans, your holiday celebrations, and the time that you want to work and the time you don't want to work. But what I'm saying is a minimum of 10 a month makes me feel like I'm doing good for you and your family. Because I know that if you have 10 approaches, you're going to have 7 appointments, even in that month. Now, and you got to remember that products that I use are probably a bigger, higher net commission early than the mortgage protection. Okay, so
right, I realize the numbers are not going to be the same.
Right,
but I just have to have a frame of reference, right?
Right. So 1073 to me means 10 approaches, 7 first appointments, 3 sales, and at least 1 back-end interview. And if you do that 2 months in a row, you're going to have a consistent $17,000 to $20,000 income. Some of you that's twice what you're making now, or sometimes maybe even 4 times what you're making now. For me, it's a cut and pay. So I can look at that and say, I cannot afford to do 1073 on a monthly basis. I need to do 1073 on a weekly basis. It's just all determined by your mindset and what you want to accomplish. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's helpful. That's better. I do have one other question though.
Go ahead.
You're taking all this time off. What do we do when we have questions? Because I don't take time off for holidays.
I'll have support staff by then. If you have an emergency, email me. I'll stop what I'm doing. But I'm just telling you, if you'll do the plan and follow my process, I can go in the closet and take a nap. But if you have a problem, there's no such thing as an annuity emergency. I don't think. And usually if you're calling me late at night, it's a problem that the licensee calls, not me.
Well, no, I'm just saying I always set my appointments 1 week out, right? So that gives me a week to find out whatever.
But if I don't block out the time that I have to rest, I won't rest. I know that. You guys are stuck with a workaholic.
You're also training a whole bunch of people, and I don't know who else to call. you're the only one who knows the answers to
Well,
the,
well, there's not a person on this call or on my list that if they sent me an email and said they really need to talk, that I wouldn't talk to.
okay.
But if I can convince you to follow my schedule and get all your stuff done, you're going to be rolling fine, and you're going to be fine. You know, but I'll stop and help. I just want you all to know that during that time, I may be playing with my grandchildren. They don't know me as who you guys know me as. They think I'm a rolling, tumbling carpet toy. You know, that's fun. Okay, so you know, I'm not saying I'm quitting. I'm saying there's 12 days right there that I am planning on asking you to get your stuff done during my open time frame so that I can take that break. You should do the same thing. You know, it doesn't have to be during Christmas. Some of you don't celebrate Christmas. Some of you celebrate Easter bunnies, and I've got a family member that celebrates Christmas on January 6th.
Eastern
I've got,
Orthodox.
yeah, and I've got also a niece who has her birthday and a Jewish father and a Catholic mother, and it's all in December, and she's just, you know, she gets a present every day for Hanukkah and for Christmas and her birthday, and so, you know, she's useless during that period of time. You know, because all these things happen. So if you know what's going on, you know how to plan your work schedule. And if you don't know what's going on, you wind up working when you had hoped to not work. And to not work doesn't mean you have to have a lower income. To know that you want time off, you have to decide if you want to earn that money before you take that time off, or if you have plans to earn that money when you get back. Because every one of us wake up every morning unemployed if we're not careful, with no one to see. And if you follow a 90-day plan, that doesn't happen. If you follow a cycle of success and apply that to the 90-day plan, you already know how many suspects you've contacted and whether you have 7 appointments or not during that week or that month. And if you don't have it, and if you want the numbers to work, you got to remember, all you got to do is get to 7 appointments and you're set. But if you spend 2 of those appointments today, you've only got 5. You need to come up with 2 more on the front end or on the back end. So the 90-day calendar, the 90-day plan, I redo my 90-day plan every 30 days. And let me tell you why. And it's a testimony, I guess, but in, you know, and most of you already know this, but in this Christmas Eve of 2020, I was in the hospital with a doctor telling me he didn't think I was going to live with COVID. And I had a cytokine storm, but I had a 90-day plan that when I came home on New Year's Eve with 2 plastic tubes up my nose and an oxygen tube on wheels, I knew I had to change my plan. But also, so the very first thing when I was alert enough mentally to look at it, I realized that I had already worked hard in October and November, and my sickness that I got in December wasn't going to show up till March on my cash flow. And that's because I could read my 90-day plan. So what I realized I needed to do while I was sick was take massive action. So I sent most of my clients a letter. I told them that I was ill and that I could not make my appointments, but that we would try to solve all their problems and try to take care of them until I got better to come back to work. And I'll be honest with you, for about 10 straight days, I had gourmet meals placed on my porch, and I'd knock on the door, and I'd go to the door, and nobody'd be there except they'd be sitting there, a gourmet meal, and it'd be from one of my clients or one of my family members. So I didn't have to cook, didn't have to worry about that. All I had to do is get better. I didn't get better till mid-March. But because I took massive action, And because Linda helped, and we knew that we had some renewals and some things that had to happen and some money that needed to move, we did it by mail. And on that letter, it was, I'm sorry I can't be there. I know you understand why, but we need to take care of you. And this is what we need to do. And all of a sudden, the signed forms would come in the mail, and we'd mail them in, and the companies didn't even know I was sick. That's because I could read my 90-day plan. That's because I adjusted it every 30 days. So that's why I want you to use the 90-day plan. And that, that's why if you read your 90-day plan, I do a cash flow analysis once a month. I do a written business and requirements analysis every month. And we know how to develop our income. We know how to maintain our income. We know how to protect our income. And right now, I can look into the end of February and tell you exactly what's going to happen if I don't lift another finger. It's called a 90-day plan. That's all I got to say about that, unless you have another question, Jen. Any other questions?
I just want to clarify. So I'm guessing that because of the annuity sales, that's why you're doing a 90-day? Just because it takes long for those?
No. Annuities don't take long.
I've always done 1 month. So I guess I'm just struggling here with, why am I doing 90 days when you're going to reevaluate every month anyway? I don't understand other than,
okay,
I guess I don't.
Okay.
Understand.
All right. I do 90 days knowing I'm going to reevaluate every 30 days. And if I don't do that, I'm making a new plan every 30 days. And I don't have control. A 90-day plan lets you, it's just almost like riding a horse. If you hold the reins, you can guide the horse. So 30 days, if you do 30 days, you might have a crisis you didn't plan for. Or you might have an issue you didn't plan for. I sure didn't plan on going to Wisconsin in early December and coming back home and 3 days later being so sick I couldn't walk and couldn't breathe. But from Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve, they were rolling dead bodies past the window in my room, left and right. And the doctor told me he didn't know if I could survive that night. He told me he didn't know if I'd survive Christmas Eve. And when I did, when they rolled me out in the wheelchair and put me out on the street, on the sidewalk, and Linda picked me up in the car, I was so weak when I got home, I couldn't function. But as I got a little bit stronger, I pulled out my calendar just to look and see what was going on. And I could see into the future the next 60 days. And I felt good about it. I looked at it and I said, it's okay for me to be sick right now. I've survived something I wasn't supposed to survive, and it didn't wreck me economically. And I can see what needs to happen. And I can plan a massive campaign, massive action. And 90 days from now, I'll be fine. And 90 days later, I was fine. So I don't want to change any successful person's process. But anybody that wants to do what I do, that's what I do. So that's why, I recommend the 90-day plan, is because that's what I do.
I described that we have a. And what is your name? Mary?
It's Mary.
Mary. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came today.
Thank you so much.
Somebody needs to unmute there. Are there any other questions?
Well, Randall, this is Cynthia, and where I am, I had to leave because they're locking up. But I will send you an email.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Folks, that's all I got to say today. I hope what I'm saying to you sinks in. But, 2 things: primary promise, unique mechanism. Master both of those, and watch your income go up if you implement a minimum of the 10-7-3. That's all it takes. So if you want to have an income in January of approximately $17,500, I think I'll be real close, left or right, of a couple $1,000. Approach 10 people that with your primary promise. Deal with 7 people using your unique mechanisms. You will sell 3 estate plans, and you'll have at least 1 back-end sale. Those numbers, I promise, you will have. And if you're not having them, I can promise you I can find out why, just by looking at your calendar and looking at your implementation, and whether you're actually doing the things that you said you were doing, and whether you're doing them right or not. That's easy training. That's called coaching. That's not training. But I need to get you trained first. So you new people, some of y'all are with me and you haven't made a sale yet. And I keep scratching my head and I keep going, why? Why have you not made a sale? And then I look and say, are you actually communicating with me? And I look at it and go, no, you're not communicating with me and not making a sale. I know you're doing something wrong, but you don't care because you don't want to follow what I have to teach. So I don't put a lot of time into you because you don't want it. You don't want that time with me. And to be honest with you, I'm already pretty busy. So a person that doesn't want their time with me and doesn't want to make any sales and doesn't want to develop, it's okay. Because it's the people. And Jen, I have enjoyed working with you so much in the month of November and watching you grow and watching you challenge yourself. And I think you're going to have one of the best years you've ever had.
I know I am.
I know you are. I know you know you. I know you know you know. So that's we have a good coaching program. We have a good training program. But people that come in and don't want to come to practice, and people that come in and don't want to do their homework, they don't affect us a bit. Because it's the people that come to practice, those are the people that do their homework, that make all their money. And it's because they want to. They want to. So if you tell me I need $4,000 a month and I'm going to be happy, I'm going to go, great, let's figure out how to do that. If you tell me you want $10,000 a month, I'm going to go, great, let's figure out how to do that. If you look at me and say I want to make $25,000 or $30,000 a month, I'm going to say, great, let's make it happen. If you say you want to make $100,000 a month, I'm going to say, well, I have not in my career averaged $100,000 a month, but I get close a lot of times. So I can't promise you I can teach you how to make $100,000 a month, because in karate, you can only get as good as your instructor. And then you have to find a new instructor. So I think I can get you to $100,000 a month. Then you can dump me if you want to, but let's get you there first. Does that make sense? I hope so. And I'll be honest with you. If I can teach you how to coach you to make $100,000 a month, I'm probably going to be doing the same or better. And because nobody learns more about this process than the person teaching or coaching. I know and learn what people do wrong, and I try not to do it. I experience and learn what stops people from having what they want, and I try not to let that do that to me. So, you guys are teaching me a whole lot more than you think, and you're coaching me to be a better coach a whole lot more than you think. And I think I'm getting tired. Any more questions? I hate it getting dark at 5 o'clock. I got to go feed my goldfish out in the backyard. And so if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to stop. But I'll take another question if you have it.
No question, just goldfish are a sign of prosperity in Chinese. So
Well,
all
and I've got
those-
600 of them. I've got about 600 of them in my backyard.
that's what you're doing. You're attracting prosperity.
There you go. Well, they're expensive. I got to go out there and feed them. All right, folks. We're gonna meet shortly that Tuesday before Thanksgiving next week. Okay, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the conversion process to the back end sale. That's all we're going to talk about on Tuesday. It's that one little segment that makes you so much money that you have some of it left over at the end of the month. It took me a while to get there. I can get you there in a shorter amount of time, but that's that one little segment is where you'll make the most money in this process. And we'll spend about an hour on that this coming Tuesday. Okay. And Jen, I think that's one thing you like. Finally, we'll be talking about sales process and products. So
Actually, I like it all. I do like the whole thing. So
okay. All right. Well, good. I hope y'all enjoyed today. I had fun talking to you, and I'm going to let y'all go and see you later. Bye.